journeys back to God. And we are writing this book equally and together, even though for convenience we'll mostly be writing as I. I have personally seen God's faithfulness as I seek Him, not once, but over and over again, and not just a long time ago, but recently. Here's how it works. I find myself far from God. Then, like a little kid who is lost, I cry out, and my Heavenly Father always responds, "Here I am." When I was in grade school and afraid of dying, He was there. When I was a teen and never felt good enough, He was there. When I was a young adult, feeling beat up by doubts and failures, He was there. When I have made choices that are opposite to what I say I value, He has been there. When I have been alone and needed guidance, He has been there. When I feel like giving up, He is there. Sure, there have been times when I haven't felt like He was there. But I always realized eventually that He actually was there the whole time. For more than 20 years, I have been a pastor of a church, and I have seen thousands of people from every walk of life travel the journey that I have taken and that I am about to take you on. It's been such a privilege, and it has cemented my conviction that God is a God who wants to be found and welcomes all who return to Him. I'll be telling the stories of many of these people throughout the book. This is not to entertain you, but to give you pictures of what it looks like to return to God. The stories and testimonies of those who have gone before us on this journey outline a well-worn path across an open field. Each adventure is personal, but we can see the path ahead because of others who have traveled before us. I'm not saying it's always easy, but it's so worth it. The journey back to God promises freedom, grace, and forgiveness for everything in our pasts. We can find meaning and redemption even in the darkest parts of our stories. Does that sound appealing to you? If so, then let me ask you a question. How did you forget God? Spiritual amnesia. If I were to give you a survey with the question, "Do you believe in God?" with boxes where you would check yes or no, most likely you would check the box for yes. According to a Gallup survey, 92% of Americans would check yes. So the great majority of us do believe in the existence of God. The problem is that we forget Him. You may have heard the story told by author Dan Millman of a little girl named Sachi and her unforgettable request. Soon after her brother was born, little Sachi began to ask her parents to leave her alone with the new baby. They worried that, like most 4-year-olds, she might feel jealous and want to hit or shake him, so they said no. But she showed no signs of jealousy, and she treated the baby with kindness, and her pleas to be left alone with him became more urgent. They decided to allow it. Elated, she went into the baby's room and shut the door, but it opened a crack, enough for her curious parents to peek in and listen. They saw little Sachi walk quietly up to her baby brother, put her face close to his, and say quietly, "Baby, tell me what God is like. I'm starting to forget." For many of us, there is a point in time we can look back on and say, "That is when I forgot about God." Others of us would say, "That's when it felt like God forgot about me." For you, that point in time might have been in your childhood, when God should have been there, and He wasn't. Behind closed doors, you were left vulnerable to the kind of treatment no child should ever endure. It felt as if God were locked out of your house and couldn't get in.